Janelle wasn't supposed to be on the VIP floor. She was only at Galaxy Hall because she needed money. One night as temporary event staff meant enough cash to cover her textbooks and maybe groceries for a week. The manager gave her a black apron and one rule: red doors are off limits. Staff stay in the gold areas only. Simple. She wasn't here to explore, she just needed to carry trays and disappear. The problem started when the elevator glitched. It stopped on the wrong level, doors opening with a soft chime that didn't match her badge. The hallway outside was quiet, too quiet, and the lighting was different. Warmer, darker, no chatter, no music. She stepped out to look for stairs. Her first mistake. Her second mistake was following the sound she thought was someone saying, "Staff?" from behind a half-open red door. She knocked lightly. No answer. She pushed the door wider. Inside, the room smelled like smoke and expensive liquor. The music was faint, a single bass note pulsing under the floor. She took one step in, just enough to peek around the corner and call out if someone needed service. Instead, she walked into a moment she was never meant to see. 3 men sat around a low table, not drinking, not laughing, staring at a 4th man kneeling on the floor with his hands zip-tied behind his back. A bruise bloomed under his left eye. His breathing was ragged, loud enough to cut through the static hum. Janelle froze. The men at the table didn't. One of them turned his head first, sharp, assessing, dangerous. Another one reached into his jacket slowly. A third straightened, subtle but ready. But the man in the center, the one leaning back against the couch like he owned the oxygen in the room, didn't move at all. He just looked at her. His eyes were sharp, focused, cold, in a way that wasn't cruel, just absolute. Like he had already calculated everything that mattered and everything that didn't. If you're new here and you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications, because this story is about to get dark and absolutely addictive. Comment below what time it is where you are. Janelle felt her pulse climb so fast it made her ears ring. I'm sorry, she choked. The manager told me I didn't mean I'm working here tonight. I thought someone called. She stepped back, but her foot hit the doorframe and she couldn't leave without turning her back on the room, and instinct told her that was a terrible idea. The man didn't blink. "Close the door," he said. His voice was low and even. The kind of calm that comes from people who've already decided what they'll do if you disobey. Janelle grabbed the handle behind her and pulled the door halfway shut, hands shaking. The men around the table shifted their attention from the tied man to her. Confusion turning into something sharper. Only the central man, the one with the quiet authority, never lowered his gaze. He tilted his head slightly. "You're not staff for this floor." His tone didn't ask, it stated. "No," she whispered. "Then why are you here?" I followed the wrong elevator. It opened here by itself. And I thought. Her throat tightened so hard she couldn't finish the sentence. He stood up slowly. His men stood with him. The tied man flinched. Janelle didn't realize she'd stepped back until her shoulders hit the wall. He walked toward her with the quiet confidence of someone who had never once needed to rush. Up close, his presence felt heavier, not physically, but in the way storms feel before they hit. He stopped inches from her. Not touching, not threatening, just close enough that she felt the shift in the air. "Look at me," he said. She did, because not looking felt worse. His eyes scanned her face like he was memorizing it. "You're shaking." "I'm not usually in rooms where people are tied up," she whispered. A shadow of amusement flickered over his face. Not a smile. Not kindness. Just interest. "Name," he said. "Janelle." "Full name." She hesitated. He noticed. "Don't make me ask again." "Janelle Williams." His eyes narrowed by a fraction, like the name slid into a slot in his memory. "Who hired you tonight?" "Mr. Park, the event manager." "Who told you you could open this door?" "No one, I swear. I thought someone said staff." I wouldn't." Her breath stuttered. Her hands trembled. He leaned in slightly. "Relax," he said softly. It sounded almost gentle and was somehow more terrifying. From the corner of her eye, she saw the kneeling man on the floor watching her with pity. The man in front of her stepped just close enough that the light caught on the scar along his jaw. A thin line, healed badly, hinting at a story no one had lived to tell. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said. A pause. "Unless you give me a reason." Her stomach dropped. Then someone knocked on the door behind her. Hard. 3 sharp bangs. Janelle jolted so violently she almost cried out. The man in front of her didn't move, but his men reacted instantly, stepping into positions like choreography practiced 1,000 times. Then, a familiar voice came through the door. "Hyun, the manager's calling for staff downstairs." Hyun-joon. He pushed the door open without waiting, and froze when he saw Janelle pressed against the wall with Minchan inches from her face. His expression went from confusion, anger, calculation in 3 seconds. "What are you doing here?" Hyun-joon asked her, voice tight. She walked in. Minchan answered before she could. "Wrong door." Hyun-joon's jaw clenched. He stepped between them, not aggressively, but like someone shielding a fragile object from falling. "Janelle, come with me." She didn't need to be asked twice. Her legs moved before her brain caught up. Hyun-joon placed a steadying hand on the small of her back, subtle, protective, grounding, and guided her out. As she crossed the threshold, she felt Minchan's eyes on her. Not lust, not anger, something much more dangerous. Recognition, like he'd found something he didn't even know he was looking for. The door clicked shut behind them. Janelle's knees nearly buckled. Hyun-joon caught her arm. "Did he touch you?" he asked, voice low. "No." "Did he threaten you?" I don't know. Not exactly." Hyun-joon exhaled slowly, like he already knew this night had just shifted something he'd been afraid of for years. "You shouldn't have been in that room," he whispered. "I know." He looked at her, really looked, eyebrows drawn, breathing controlled, worry etched into his expression. "Janelle, that wasn't just a wrong door." He swallowed hard. That was Minchan's private room. Her pulse dropped into her stomach. People in hallways stared at them. Someone raised a phone. Someone whispered her name and Minchan's in the same sentence. Hyun-joon's hand tightened around her wrist. "Janelle," he said quietly, eyes sharpening, "everyone saw you come out." And at that moment, she felt the weight of it. The beginning she couldn't undo. The rumor she wouldn't be able to outrun. The man she should have never looked in the eyes. Her life had just changed, and not one part of it was going to change quietly. Hyun-joon didn't let go of her wrist until they reached the service stairwell. Even then, he kept one hand hovering near her elbow like he expected her to collapse. "Sit," he said gently. She lowered herself onto the bottom step, heart hammering so loudly it felt like it might echo. The stairwell light flickered above them, making the concrete walls look colder than they were. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Hyun-joon ran a hand through his hair, took one breath, then crouched in front of her so he could meet her eyes. "Janelle," he said quietly, "what exactly did you see?" "Nothing." Her voice was thin. "Or something. I didn't stay long enough to understand. I just saw someone tied up." She stopped. Saying his name out loud felt like stepping on a crack in the floor and expecting it to break. Hyun-joon's expression tightened in the way people try to hide panic. "You heard anything?" he asked. "Words? Threats?" "No. Just the tied man, breathing loudly, like he was scared." Hyun-joon shut his eyes for half a second. "That room is for conversations that don't belong to the public," he said. "You shouldn't have been anywhere near it." She lifted her chin defensively. "I told you, I followed the wrong elevator. I wasn't trying to. I'm not blaming you." He softened immediately. I'm trying to understand the damage." Her stomach dropped. "Damage? People saw you walk in," he rubbed the back of his neck, "and they saw me walk you out." A wave of nausea rolled through her. "Meaning?" she whispered. "Meaning people will assume something. A beat. Or someone." Janelle pressed her palms to her thighs. Her skin felt too tight. Her throat felt bruised from holding too many breaths at once. "How many people?" she forced out. "Enough." Hyun-joon didn't sugarcoat it. He never did. She pulled her knees closer to her chest. "I can't afford this," she murmured. "I can't afford rumors, or attention, or being tied to." She didn't say his name. She couldn't. Hyun-joon finished for her. "Minchan." She flinched. He noticed. "Look at me," he said softly. She did. Walking into his room was an accident. "I know that. But other people? They won't care about the truth. They'll decide their own version and run with it." Her hands trembled. She tucked them under her thighs to hide it. "Okay," she whispered. "So, how do I undo it?" Hyun-joon exhaled, slow and reluctant. "You don't." That broke something inside her, small, fragile. He stood and offered a hand to help her up. She took it because her legs weren't steady enough to argue. "Come on," he said. "Let's get you out of here before anyone else shows up." They descended the last steps to the staff exit. When they pushed open the heavy metal door, the noise of the night hit her like a wall. Cars, chatter, music leaking from the venue, the hum of Seoul, alive and indifferent. People lingered near the loading dock. Some were staring at their phones. Some whispered. Some looked straight at her. Hyun-joon noticed. He stepped half a pace in front of her instinctively, blocking most of their view. A staff member smirked. "VIP girl, didn't know the church interns were also." Hyun-joon stepped toward him so fast the guy jerked back. "She had the wrong elevator," Hyun-joon said. Calm but cutting. "Watch your mouth." The guy lifted his hands. "Relax, Hyung. Just a joke." Hyun-joon didn't relax. He guided Janelle toward the street. "You want me to call your uncle?" he asked. "No," she said quickly. "Please don't. He'll see the posts." Janelle felt cold flood her chest. The idea of her uncle scrolling through a clip of Minchan standing inches from her face made her vision blur. "I'll talk to him first thing in the morning," she whispered. "Let me try before he hears it from strangers." Hyun-joon nodded. They walked until the noise of the venue faded behind them. Only when they reached the corner did he stop and face her fully. "Listen carefully." His voice tightened in seriousness. "If Minchan wants something, he doesn't forget a face. He won't pretend. Tonight didn't happen." Her breath caught. "But don't panic," he added. "Just stay alert. Don't take shortcuts home. Don't walk alone if you don't have to." Janelle swallowed. "Is that a warning?" "It's preparation, nothing more." But the tension in his jaw said otherwise. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "And if he approaches you again," he said quietly, "don't talk to him alone. Call me. No matter when. No matter where." Her chest tightened with a strange mix of fear and gratitude. "Why?" she whispered. He held her gaze for a long beat. "Because people like him," he said. "Don't get interested for harmless reasons." A chill climbed her spine. A car honked nearby. People crossed the street, laughing, dressed for nightlife, unaware of the trapdoor that had opened under her evening. Janelle exhaled shakily. "Thank you," she said, "for getting me out of there." Hyun-joon nodded once. "You should go home," he said, "and stay off social media until morning." "Is it that bad already?" He didn't answer, which told her everything. She adjusted her tote bag and stepped away. "Good night," she said. He hesitated, then gently touched her elbow, a small, grounding gesture. "Good night," he echoed. She nodded. Then she walked toward the bus stop, every step heavy, the night suddenly too loud. As she crossed the street, her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. A notification from an unknown number. Her stomach dropped before she even read it. "Do you always open doors without knocking?" Her feet stopped moving. The street noise dimmed around her. Another message appeared instantly. "We're not done, Janelle." No name, no emojis, no context. But the tone, the calmness, she knew exactly who it was. Her pulse thudded in her ears. And across the street, parked half in shadow, engine idling, a black sedan's headlights flicked on for 2 seconds, then off. She didn't need a face to confirm it. Minchan was watching. Watching her walk away. Watching her read the text. Watching her choose whether to run or freeze. Her fingers tightened around her phone. She didn't run. She didn't respond. She simply forced her legs to move and boarded the next bus without looking back. But the whole ride home, she felt the weight of a gaze that wasn't physically present, a gaze that had already decided something about her, something she wasn't ready to name. By the time Janelle reached her apartment gate, her hands were numb, from gripping her tote too tightly. She kept checking over her shoulder, even though she didn't want to look. Every dark car felt suspicious. Every shadow felt like it had intentions. She typed quickly, "I'm home, Jay." Hyun-joon replied within seconds. "Good. Lock everything. Sleep early. Don't check social media." She wanted to ask why again, but she already knew the answer. She pocketed her phone and hurried inside. The apartment was quiet, just the low hum of the old refrigerator and the faint lavender smell her uncle always said helped people rest. She dropped her shoes, washed her face, and attempted to breathe normally. But her reflection in the bathroom mirror looked wrong, eyes wide, shoulders tense. A girl who wasn't ready for the way her life was suddenly bending. She pulled out her hair tie and whispered to her reflection. It was an accident, nothing more. But saying it didn't make it feel true. She stepped out of the bathroom. The living room lights were still on. Her uncle hadn't returned from the late-night prayer meeting yet. Good. She didn't want him to see her like this. She sat on the couch and reached for the remote to distract herself. But the TV asked for a password she didn't remember. Fine. Silence was better. Her phone buzzed. She almost didn't check. Almost. A message from Kemi popped up. "Janelle, what happened at Galaxy Hall? Why is your name everywhere?" Her heart went ice cold. She opened the message thread. Images loaded too fast, too bright. There it was. A blurry clip of her stepping out of the red door room, followed by a clearer angle of Minchan turning to look at her. A microphone somewhere picked up someone saying, "Is she with him?" Then Hyun-joon pulling her away. Janelle's lungs felt tight. Another message from Kemi arrived. "Girl, are you okay? People are saying crazy things." She scrolled up and saw the captions being used. "Pastor's niece caught with Gangnam's king? Minchan's new girl? Right-hand man versus boss? Who gets her?" Her stomach turned. She whispered, "Oh God. No. This wasn't supposed to happen. This wasn't supposed to exist at all." Her phone buzzed again. Group chat notifications, meme pages, screenshots, clipped scenes, speculation. Students from her university were already commenting. "A church girl? Seriously? They always act holier than thou. Pastor's niece, moving funny. This is about to get messy." Janelle gripped the phone until her fingertips went white. How could something that lasted less than a minute already be spinning into a wildfire? She turned the phone face down. But turning it over didn't silence the guilt or fear. Her chest tightened. She needed fresh air. She stepped onto the small balcony, hoping the night breeze would cool her nerves. It did barely. Below, the street glowed orange from old street lamps. Neon signs flickered from the convenience store across the road. Everything looked normal. Normal. But her pulse wasn't. She breathed in and out until her hands stopped shaking. Then her phone buzzed again. One message. Different number. Not Minchan. Not Kemi. Not Hyun-joon. A number that wasn't saved in her contacts. 14 missed calls. Her heart stopped for half a beat. 14. She tapped the recent calls list. All unknown. All the same number. All within the past 8 minutes. Her palms began to sweat. Then a text arrived from that number. "You shouldn't have left." Her knees weakened. She shook her head. "No, no, no, no." Another text. "We weren't finished talking." Her mouth went dry. Then, "Answer your phone, Janelle." She backed away from the balcony door on instinct, like distance could protect her. Her screen lit up again. Incoming call. Same unknown number. No name. She couldn't breathe. The phone buzzed on and on until it stopped. Then another text appeared. "Look outside." She froze. Her body refused to obey her mind. Finally, with her heart slamming in her chest, she stepped forward and slowly looked over the balcony rail. A car sat under the street lamp. Not black. Not the same sedan as before. This one was silver. Low. Expensive. Engine running. The driver's side window rolled down an inch. She couldn't see the face clearly, only a silhouette. Then her phone vibrated. "I told you we weren't done." Open the door. Her body locked. Was this Minchan? Or someone else? The man asking for her uncle? The people outside the chapel? Another piece of the night she wasn't supposed to witness? Her hands were shaking so badly she nearly dropped the phone. A new message arrived before she could react. If you don't open the door in 10 seconds, I'll come up. Janelle's breath caught. No, wait. 10, 9, 8. She spun toward the living room door, heart slamming against her ribs. Was he serious? Was this a threat? A bluff? Was she about to be dragged into something worse than the wrong room? 7, 6, 5. Her breathing turned sharp, fast. Her mind raced. She considered calling Hyun-joon. She considered calling her uncle. She considered screaming. 4, 3. Footsteps sounded in the building hallway. Heavy, measuring, getting closer. 2. She reached for the lock, and then someone knocked. 3 firm knocks. Not loud, not frantic, patient. Her entire body froze. Whoever was behind that door already knew she was standing on the other side. She stepped back slowly, every nerve in her body sparking with fear. The knocks came again, this time softer, almost polite. She swallowed hard. "Janelle," a man's voice said through the door. Calm, smooth, familiar, in a way that chilled her. "I told you, we weren't finished." Janelle's breath locked in her throat. Her apartment felt too small, too bright, too exposed. The voice outside the door was calm. Too calm, like the person behind it had all the time in the world and none of the fear she felt. She pressed her back against the wall and tried to steady her heartbeat. "Janelle," the voice again. Smooth, measured, not the shaky desperation of a random stalker, not the clipped concern of Hyun-joon, not the warm Nigerian cadence of her uncle. Something else. Something controlled. Her palms grew slick. "Who are you?" she whispered, more to herself than to him. The person outside didn't answer the question. Instead, he spoke as if finishing a conversation she didn't remember starting. "You should have answered your phone. You made this harder than it needed to be." Her stomach twisted. He didn't sound angry. He sounded certain, like he had expected her to open the door, like he already knew she wouldn't run. She took a shaky step away, inching toward the kitchen where her phone charger lay. If she could just call someone, Hyun-joon, Kemi, a neighbor, anyone. A shadow moved under the door. He was still there, listening, waiting. She swallowed hard. My uncle is coming home soon." A lie, but the kind of lie scared people sometimes believed. The man chuckled softly, a low, quiet sound that made her skin crawl. "Your uncle won't be back for another hour," he said. Her blood ran cold. How did he know that? Her hand trembled on the countertop. She wrapped her fingers around the edge to steady herself. "You've been watching me," she whispered. He didn't deny it. Instead, "You walked into something tonight you weren't supposed to see. I want to make sure you don't misunderstand anything." Her legs weakened. This wasn't Minchan's voice. Minchan's voice was cold steel, clean, sharp, with a kind of lethal certainty that chilled more than it threatened. This voice was different, slippery, smiling while speaking. The kind of tone that belonged to people who enjoyed being underestimated. "Janelle," the man repeated quietly, "open the door." Her breath hitched. This couldn't be happening. Not in her home. Not after the night she'd already had. Not with her uncle away and her pulse loud enough to shake her ribs. Something told her that opening the door would be the worst mistake of her life. And then, a rapid knock. Hard, urgent, not from the man. On instinct, she pressed a hand over her mouth to keep from making a sound. Footsteps. 2 sets. A brief argument. Low voices, too muffled to understand. A scuffle. A thud. Then, silence. Her heart raced painfully. Finally, a single voice cut through the door. A different voice. "Janelle," he said, not calm, not smiling, firm, clear, familiar. Hyun-joon. Relief slammed into her so fast she had to brace herself against the table. He knocked once. "Are you inside? Answer me." "Yes," she breathed, rushing to the door, but stopping just short of unlocking it. "Yes, I'm here. Are you hurt?" "No." "Good." "Open the door slowly." Her fingers shook as she unlocked it. When she cracked it open, Hyun-joon pushed it wider and stepped inside quickly, eyes scanning every corner before turning back to her. He looked angry, angrier than she'd ever seen him. Not at her, at the situation. "Where is he?" she whispered. "Gone," Hyun-joon said. "He ran when he heard me coming up the stairs." Her eyes widened. "How did you know to come?" He looked away for a split second. "I didn't. I was checking on you because you didn't reply to the last text." She frowned. "I did reply." "No," he said calmly, but with an edge. "You didn't." Her stomach flipped. Her hand flew to her pocket and she pulled out her phone. No sent messages. No outgoing texts. Nothing after her "I'm home" message. Someone had deleted them. Or intercepted them. Or, she swallowed. "Hyun-joon, the calls, the texts. He said he knew when my uncle would be home." Hyun-joon's jaw clenched. "Tell me everything," he said. She told him. The 14 missed calls. The countdown. The car, outside. The knocks. The threats. The voice. The certainty. Hyun-joon listened without interrupting. When she finished, he paced once across the room, his movements tight, like he was holding something dangerous inside. "I should have stayed," he muttered. "You didn't know. I should have known." His frustration wasn't loud. It was the quiet kind that came from someone who had spent too long cleaning up after other people's mistakes. He stopped pacing and faced her. "Janelle." His voice softened only slightly. "The moment you opened that door earlier tonight, you stepped into a world that doesn't forgive accidents." Her breath caught. "I didn't choose any of this." "I know." He exhaled slowly. "I'm not blaming you. I'm trying to keep you safe." A pause. Long enough for something unspoken to settle between them. "Do you think," she whispered, "do you think Minchan sent that man?" Hyun-joon's expression changed. Not surprise. Not confusion. Something like conflict. "No," he said. "This wasn't Minchan's style. He doesn't play games like this." "Then who?" He held up a hand gently. "I'll find out." A sudden knock startled them both. 3 sharp knocks. Her blood ran cold. Hyun-joon moved in front of her instantly. The knock came again. "Police," a voice called from the hallway. "We received a noise complaint." Hyun-joon's shoulders tensed. He turned his head just slightly toward Janelle. "That's not police." "How do you know?" "No one files a noise complaint this fast," he murmured. "And they don't knock like that." Another knock. Harder. "Open up," the voice said. Sharp, impatient, wrong. Janelle's chest tightened. Hyun-joon stepped closer to the door, but not to open it. He leaned in, listening. The hallway creaked under weight. Muffled whispers outside. 2 people, maybe 3. His jaw tightened. "Back up," he whispered to her. "Now." She did. The knocking stopped. Silence. Too still. Then, a new sound. Not a knock. Not a voice. A soft scrape. Metal against metal. Someone was picking her lock. Hyun-joon cursed under his breath. "Get behind the kitchen counter," he whispered urgently. "Stay low. Hyun-joon. Go." She moved. Heart pounding. Nerves shaking. Breath quickening. The lock clicked once. Twice. Then, very softly, the doorknob turned. Hyun-joon reached into his jacket and closed a hand around something she couldn't see. Her pulse thundered. The door began to open. Slowly. On purpose. Like the person on the other side wanted her to hear every inch of movement. Her phone vibrated from the counter where she left it. One new message. From the same unknown number as before. "Told you. We aren't done." The door opened wider. And a boot stepped inside. The boot that crossed the threshold was heavy military style, black and deliberate. Not the kind worn by police. Not the kind worn by a neighbor. The kind worn by men who weren't afraid to leave marks. Hyun-joon didn't move. He just shifted his weight slightly 1 foot back, 1 foot angled like a coiled decision. Another boot followed. Then a shadow. Janelle pressed her back against the kitchen counter, nails biting into her palms. She could hear her heartbeat pounding like fists against a door. A man stepped inside. Not tall, not bulky, but he moved with the confidence of someone who had already unlocked too many doors in his life. He closed the apartment door gently behind him. That gesture, the calmness, was worse than a break-in. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't afraid. He was comfortable. He glanced around the living room, scanning everything in seconds. The couch, the balcony curtain, the lamp, the hallway leading to the bedrooms. He looked like he was checking boxes, not invading a home. Then he smiled, a slow, polite stretch of the mouth that didn't touch his eyes. "Good evening," he said, as if he'd been invited. Hyun-joon didn't answer. He stepped forward just enough to block the man's view of the kitchen. "Leave," Hyun-joon said quietly. Now, the intruder's smile widened by a millimeter. "You must be the friend." Hyun-joon didn't blink, didn't shift, didn't breathe wrong. The intruder tilted his head. "Is she hiding behind you?" he asked casually. "Or did she run out the back?" Janelle's breath caught. The man knew. He knew she was here. He took 2 steps forward, hands tucked in his pockets, voice friendly in the way a knife in a velvet box is still a knife. "You don't need to protect her," he said. "She and I just need a conversation." Hyun-joon stepped fully between the man and the kitchen. "You're not talking to her." "Oh?" The intruder raised a brow. "Are you her guardian now?" Silence. The man sighed lightly, like an inconvenience was slowing him down. He pulled his phone from his pocket, tapped the screen, and held it up. A video played. Janelle felt her stomach drop. It was the clip from the VIP floor. Her stepping out of the red door room, her face exposed. Minchan turning toward her. Hyun-joon pulling her away. The intruder watched her reaction from behind Hyun-joon. "There she is," he murmured. "I really wanted to see your expression live." Hyun-joon's voice turned cold. "Shut that off." The man did, but not because he obeyed. He wanted the moment over. He slipped the phone back into his pocket, then said, "Let me explain this simply." He held up a single finger. 1. She entered something she shouldn't have. Another finger. 2. Someone wants to know if she saw anything useful. Another finger. 3. I was sent to ask nicely. Hyun-joon laughed once, a short, humorless sound. "This is asking nicely?" The man shrugged. "Could be worse." Janelle's throat tightened. The intruder's gaze snapped toward the kitchen. He couldn't see her, but he sensed her. "Come out, Janelle," he said gently. "Let me see you." Hyun-joon shifted, blocking every angle. "She's not talking to you," Hyun-joon repeated. "And who are you?" the intruder asked. "Her bodyguard?" "Something like that." The man chuckled. "Cute." Then, he took 1 step forward. Hyun-joon matched it with a step forward of his own. The room thickened. 2 worlds pressed together. The calm, patient criminal sent for answers, and the man who'd silently sworn to protect her. The intruder's voice dropped. "You think you can keep her from people like us?" Hyun-joon's reply was low, dangerous. "I can try." The man exhaled like someone losing patience. He raised his hand slowly. Janelle braced. But he didn't reach for a weapon. He snapped. 2 more men stepped through the door, both wearing the same boots. Janelle's breath stuttered. Hyun-joon didn't turn. He didn't look back. He kept his body between her and them. The lead intruder smiled again. "Let's not make this messy." Hyun-joon's shoulders relaxed, not in surrender, but in preparation. "You really want to do this here?" he murmured. The man nodded politely. "Yes, I do." Hyun-joon sighed. "Okay." Then something shifted in his posture. A flicker of decision. A split-second change in balance. Janelle had seen him calm. She'd seen him stern. She'd seen him protective. She had never seen him dangerous. Hyun-joon moved first. Fast. So fast, she didn't understand the motion until it was already finished. He grabbed the intruder's collar, slammed him into the wall, and knocked his phone out of his hand in 1 clean strike. The 2 other men lunged. Hyun-joon ducked 1 punch, elbowed a throat, twisted someone's wrist, and kicked the 3rd man backward into the door. The intruder staggered but didn't fall. He wiped blood from his lip and laughed. "I like you," he said. "Minchan always chooses interesting company." Janelle's stomach twisted. Minchan. This was connected to Minchan. But how? Why? Had Minchan sent him? Was this retaliation? Or something worse? Hyun-joon didn't look away from the intruders. "You have 10 seconds, he warned, "to leave this apartment before I stop being polite." The man smirked. "That's adorable." He reached slowly into his jacket. Janelle froze. Hyun-joon tensed. But the intruder didn't pull a gun. He pulled a card. A simple black business card with a silver emblem in the center. He flicked it toward the kitchen. It slid across the floor and stopped at Janelle's feet. The man smiled. Minchan didn't send me, he said. His tone darkened. But he will be very interested in what I find. Hyun-joon's jaw tightened. Janelle's pulse spiked. The intruder nodded toward her through the wall. See you soon, Janelle. Then he motioned to his men. They left, calmly, casually, like they hadn't just broken in and threatened her. The door shut behind them with a soft click. Silence rushed in like a wave. Hyun-joon stood still for 3 seconds, breathing hard but controlled. Then he turned. Are you hurt? He asked. No, she whispered. I didn't. Who was? He picked up the black card from the floor. His face changed, like he'd seen a ghost. What? She whispered. What is it? Hyun-joon flipped the card over. Just 2 words were printed on the back. 2 words that made the color drain from his face. The Syndicate. Janelle didn't know what it meant. But the way Hyun-joon looked at her, it told her everything. Her life had just crossed a point of no return. Janelle stared at the black card in Hyun-joon's hand. It looked harmless. Just a small rectangle with a silver emblem. An abstract spiral, shaped like a serpent swallowing its own tail. But the way Hyun-joon held it, like it was something that burned. Hyun-joon, she whispered. What is the Syndicate? He didn't answer. He walked toward the door first, checked the lock, slid the chain across, then shoved a chair under the handle. Only after securing it did he finally turn back to her. It's not something you say out loud, he said quietly. Her heart thudded painfully. Why not? Because people who do, he said, usually disappear. She felt her skin prickle. She stepped closer without realizing it. Are they a gang? If they were just a gang, he muttered, we'd celebrate. That didn't comfort her at all. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing once, twice. His calmness was thinning, not gone, but stretched tight, like a rope carrying too much weight. Hyun-joon, she pressed, please, I need to know. Finally, he stopped pacing and looked her square in the eyes. Fine, he said. You want the truth? They're not a gang. They're above gangs. Her breath hitched. Above? She echoed. They run things the gangs are scared of, he said. Politicians. Ports. Import lines. Dirty investments. They don't leave fingerprints. They don't send warnings. He looked at the card again. And if someone from the Syndicate is interested in you, she waited. He didn't finish, which scared her more than words. Janelle felt her knees wobble, and she sank into one of the dining chairs. The wood felt cold against her back. I didn't see anything, she whispered. I promise. I didn't understand anything in that room. I don't know who was tied up or why. Doesn't matter, Hyun-joon said. They don't hunt information. They hunt possibilities. She frowned. What does that even mean? It means, he said, they saw you with Minchan. Her stomach dropped. And that alone, he said slowly, is enough to make you a problem. Janelle pressed a hand to her forehead. I shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have gone near that floor. You didn't choose it, he reminded her. You followed a wrong elevator. I still opened the door. Yes, he said softly. But you didn't know what was behind it. She looked at him miserably. Minchan was behind it. Something flickered across Hyun-joon's face. Something she couldn't read. Yes, he said. He was. Do you think he sent those men? She asked again. Hyun-joon shook his head immediately. No, Minchan's clean compared to them. Clean? She repeated incredulously. He had a man tied up in a room. Hyun-joon stiffened, then looked away. I said clean, not good, he murmured. Minchan has rules, the Syndicate doesn't. She didn't know what to do with that sentence. A heavy silence settled. Janelle finally whispered, why does Minchan even matter? I don't know him. He doesn't know me. Hyun-joon inhaled deeply. That's the problem, he said. He noticed you. Her pulse quickened. Not in a good way. What does that mean? She asked. You don't understand the kind of man he is, Hyun-joon said. When Minchan focuses on something, he doesn't look away. He doesn't forgive. He doesn't forget. He looked at her with a tight, almost pained expression. And tonight, he looked at you. She felt her throat go dry. Hyun-joon, she whispered. Is this my fault? No, he said instantly. This is our world's fault, not yours. She breathed in shakily. He crouched beside her and lowered his voice. Listen carefully, he said. From now on, you don't walk anywhere alone. You don't answer calls from unknown numbers. You don't open your door for anyone except your uncle or me. She nodded slowly. He hesitated like he was about to say something heavier. Then, and if Minchan contacts you again, tell me immediately. Her breath caught. What? What do I say to him? Hyun-joon's jaw tightened. Nothing, if you can help it. The apartment suddenly felt too quiet, too still. Then, her phone buzzed. Sharp, sudden, loud enough to make both of them jump. Janelle reached for it with trembling hands. Hyun-joon stood quickly. Don't touch it. She froze. He took the phone from her gently and checked the screen. His expression darkened. It's him, isn't it? She whispered. Hyun-joon didn't speak. He turned the screen toward her. Minchan. 1. New message. Her stomach dropped. Hyun-joon opened the message from a careful distance, as if expecting poison to spill out. One sentence appeared. I heard you had visitors. Janelle's chest tightened painfully. Another message appeared instantly. Open your balcony curtain. Hyun-joon swore under his breath. No, he said. No, don't. He's testing something. But she didn't have to, because the curtain moved before she touched it. A breeze pushed it aside just slightly, enough for her to see a figure standing in the alley below, looking up at her balcony, hands in pockets, coat flowing in the wind, face half in shadow. Minchan, not hiding, not pretending, not sneaking, just watching, waiting for her to look back. Her hands felt cold. Another message appeared. You should fire whoever picked your locks. Sloppy work. Janelle's breath stuttered. Minchan wasn't just watching. He knew. He saw. He was already inside her night. Hyun-joon moved to block her view, pulling the curtain fully shut. That's enough, he said tightly. Lock your windows. All of them. Janelle felt like the air in the apartment shrank. Her voice was barely a whisper. What does he want with me? Hyun-joon didn't answer immediately. When he did, his voice was low. I don't know, he said. But whatever it is, it started tonight. A tremor ran through her. And it isn't going to stop. Her phone buzzed one last time. She didn't touch it. Hyun-joon read the message with a clenched jaw. His face shifted surprise, anger, something else she couldn't name. What did he say? She whispered. He hesitated. Then he handed her the phone. The message was simple, too simple. We need to talk, Janelle. She swallowed hard. But not tonight. Sleep? You look tired. Asterisk, asterisk. Her breath caught between fear and confusion. Why did he? Then the final line appeared. A line that made her knees weaken. Tell Hyun-joon to stop pacing. It's distracting. Janelle whipped her head toward the window. The curtain was still drawn. But somehow, Minchan could see them. For a full 5 seconds, no one breathed. Not Janelle. Not Hyun-joon. Not even the room. They just stared at the final message glowing on her screen. Tell Hyun-joon to stop pacing. It's distracting. The curtain was closed. The windows locked. The lights dim. There was no possible way Minchan could see inside. Unless... Hyun-joon, Janelle whispered, her voice cracking. How does he know what you're doing? He can't see us? He can't? Janelle. Hyun-joon's voice was steady, but his eyes were not. Step away from the window. She backed up immediately. He moved quickly to the balcony and pressed one shoulder against the curtain, just enough to peek. Then he froze. What is it? She whispered. Is he still there? Hyun-joon didn't answer. He closed the curtain sharply and turned to her with an expression she couldn't interpret, part anger, part fear, part something else entirely. That window across the alley, he said finally. The one with the green plant on the sill. What about it? It wasn't lit earlier. And now it is? Hyun-joon nodded once. Someone's watching from inside that apartment, he said. And I doubt it's a coincidence. Janelle's breath hitched. The syndicate? No, he said. This is cleaner. More deliberate. She swallowed. Minchan. Hyun-joon hesitated. Maybe, That hesitation terrified her more than confirmation. Because if Hyun-joon wasn't certain, if even he didn't know where Minchan's eyes ended, she was in far, far deeper trouble than she understood. Hyun-joon, what am I supposed to do? He exhaled, the sound long and strained. Right now? You're going to listen to me. No questions. No arguments. She nodded, even though her throat felt too tight to speak. He stepped closer. His voice softened, not with affection, but urgency. You need to pack a bag. She blinked. A bag? Why? Where are we going? A safe place, he said. Somewhere Minchan doesn't know. Somewhere those men don't know. She shook her head. I can't just disappear. You have to, Hyun-joon snapped. Then, immediately softened again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He ran a hand over his face. This isn't just about rumors anymore. Tonight wasn't random. 2 different groups made a move on you. In less than an hour, she gripped the counter for support. But why me? Her voice broke. I'm nobody. I'm just a student. I didn't do anything. His eyes held hers. Yes, he said quietly. You did. She froze. You walked into the wrong room. Her chest tightened. That's it? She whispered. That's really it? That's enough, he said. But why? Why is that enough to ruin my life? Hyun-joon looked away, his hands curled into fists. Because Minchan doesn't let accidents happen around him, he said. And because the syndicate doesn't believe in coincidences. His voice dropped lower. And because the man tied up in that room tonight wasn't just some random criminal. Janelle's blood went cold. She stepped closer, whispering. Who was he? Hyun-joon didn't want to say it. It was written in the tension of his shoulders. Hyun-joon, she pressed. Tell me. He exhaled sharply. That man works for the syndicate. Janelle staggered backward. But he was tied up, she said. Minchan's men. Yes. And that means, yes. Pieces clicked into place, one by one, in a sequence she didn't want to form. Minchan had captured someone from a group everyone feared. She walked in on it. And now, the syndicate wanted her. And Minchan was watching her apartment. Her breath shook out of her in shallow bursts. This can't be happening, she whispered. This can't. I'm not part of this world. I didn't choose this. Hyun-joon caught her arms gently. Janelle, look at me. She did. You're still innocent in all this, he said. But innocence doesn't protect anyone in this world. It just makes you easier to use. Her voice trembled. Use? For what? I don't know yet. His voice was low, grim. But if the syndicate wants you, they'll try to pull you in. And, if Minchan wants you, he stopped. What? She pressed. Hyun-joon hesitated. Then he said the quiet part. He'll never let them have you. A cold tremor ran through her body. Never let them? She whispered. What does that mean? It means, Hyun-joon said slowly, that if Minchan becomes fixated on you, he swallowed, choosing his words carefully. He can be more dangerous than the people he's fighting. Her pulse slammed in her ears. I'm packing your bag, Hyun-joon said suddenly. Grab your passport. Your laptop. Cash if you have it. Don't take anything heavy. She didn't move. He looked at her sharply. Janelle. Something in her expression made him pause. What is it? He asked, softly. She whispered it like a confession. I'm scared. His face softened finally, fully. I know, he said. But you're not alone. Her chest tightened. For now, she whispered. He opened his mouth to reassure her, but her phone buzzed on the counter. Both of them froze. Janelle didn't touch it. Hyun-joon didn't either. The screen lit. Minchan, one new message. The air in the room thickened. Hyun-joon exhaled through his teeth. Ignore it. But a second message arrived immediately. Then a third. Then a fourth. Her hands began to shake again. Hyun-joon. No, he said. Don't look. But she couldn't stop herself. She reached for the phone. Hyun-joon grabbed her wrist gently. Janelle. Whatever he's trying to do, I need to know, she said, voice trembling. He hesitated. Then let go. She lifted the phone. The first message expanded. Her heart stopped. You don't need to run. Then the next. If I wanted to take you, I'd already be inside. Her chest seized. Then the final one. Pack your bags if it makes you feel better. But you're going to come back to me eventually. Janelle felt the world tilt. Why would I come back to him? She whispered. Hyun-joon's voice was raw. Because Minchan doesn't chase people. A beat. He collects them. Janelle's stomach twisted. She dropped her phone. It hit the floor with a dull thud. Before either of them could reach for it, it buzzed again. A new message from Minchan. Just one sentence. Say good night, Janelle. Her hands trembled as she stared at it. Another message appeared instantly. This one made her blood run cold. I'm standing outside your building. For a moment, the room went silent. Too silent. Like the walls were holding their breath with her. The message on the floor glowed in the dim light. I'm standing outside your building. Janelle's lungs refused to work. Her fingers dug into the counter behind her. Hyun-joon reacted instantly. He grabbed her arm and pulled her away from the balcony windows, tucking her behind him like she was something he could physically shield from shadows. Don't move, he said sharply. She couldn't. Her ears rang. Her body felt heavy. Every heartbeat was a drum in her ribs. Stay right here, Hyun-joon muttered. Then he crossed the room and crouched beside the curtain again, only slightly. Just enough to peek through the tiniest crack. Janelle watched him swallow hard. He stayed there for 3 long seconds. Then he closed the curtain and pressed a hand to his forehead. What did you see? She whispered. Hyun-joon didn't look at her. That car, he said quietly. The one from the alley earlier. Her stomach twisted. The same one? Yes. And him? Hyun-joon didn't answer immediately. He walked to her slowly, like choosing his words carefully. He's leaning against the door pillar, Hyun-joon said finally. Just standing there, hands in his pockets, looking up. Janelle's throat dried. Looking up where? Hyun-joon said nothing. That answer was enough. She sank onto the couch, chest rising too fast. She didn't want to believe it, but her phone buzzed again, confirming the horrifying truth. You should turn on your hallway light. Her hand flew to her mouth. No, she breathed. No. Her hallway light was off. She hadn't touched it. But someone could see that. From the outside? From below? Hyun-joon, she whispered. How does he see into my apartment? He can't see into it, he said. But he can see enough. He exhaled slowly. This building is old. No tinted glass. Curtains don't fully close. If he's positioned right, he can see silhouettes. Janelle felt sick. This is insane. This is stalking. This is Minchan, Hyun-joon said quietly. Don't use normal words for what he does. Her legs wouldn't stop trembling. Why is he here? She whispered. Why won't he leave me alone? Hyun-joon didn't answer that immediately. He grabbed her backpack from the floor and turned to her. Pack, he said. Now. She hesitated. Hyun-joon. What if leaving makes things worse? It won't. How do you know? He held her gaze for a long moment, then said the most unsettling thing yet. Because Minchan doesn't chase people when he wants to punish them. Her pulse stumbled. What does he do then? She whispered. Hyun-joon didn't look away. He waits. The idea of Minchan waiting was worse than the idea of him chasing. Waiting meant patience. Waiting meant obsession. Waiting meant control. Hyun-joon shoved clothes into her bag, voice tight. We're going to a safe apartment on the east side. Nobody knows it. Not Minchan. Not the syndicate. Janelle swallowed hard. Where exactly? He cut her off. Just trust me. She nodded, even though her body felt weightless and unreal. He zipped the bag and slung it over his shoulder. Shoes, he instructed. She slipped hers on, fingers shaking. Hyun-joon cracked the hallway door open an inch and listened. Silence. The kind of silence that could hide anything. Follow me, he whispered. But before they stepped into the hallway, her phone buzzed once more. She didn't want to look, didn't want to breathe, but she did. If you're planning to run, don't use the front door. Her pulse slammed. Hyun-joon's eyes darkened. He knows we're leaving. Janelle's voice trembled. He's watching everything. Another message came through instantly. Use the back stairwell. Hyun-joon stared at the screen, jaw tight. This is a trap, he said. Horror coiled in her stomach. So what do we do? He grabbed her wrist. "We use the front door." "But he just said." "I don't take directions from him," Hyun-joon muttered. And then, under his breath, "He doesn't get to control every move you make." Janelle's heart softened for a split second, then hardened again as reality hit. Hyun-joon. What if he's waiting exactly because he expects us to go against him? What if he knows you think like that? He paused, just long enough to terrify her. Then he exhaled. "You're not wrong." They stood still for a moment, caught between two exits, two dangers, two invisible pathways. Then, a muffled sound came from outside. A soft engine rev, not from below. From the side of the building, Hyun-joon froze. He moved. She swallowed. Moved where? Hyun-joon walked slowly to the curtain again. Breath steady, but sharp-edged. He peeked through a crack, then swore under his breath. "He's at the back stairwell now." Her heart dropped. "What?" she whispered. He moved that fast?" "He's not alone," Hyun-joon said. "There's a driver, too." "So the front door is clear?" Hyun-joon hesitated. For now, she didn't like that answer. "Then let's go," she whispered urgently. He stepped toward the door. She followed, hand trembling, heart pounding. But just before he reached for the lock, her phone buzzed. Again, one new message from Minchan. Hyun-joon snatched the phone and read it first. He inhaled sharply, angrily, almost protectively. "What?" she asked. "What did he say?" Hyun-joon looked at her with a strange, conflicted expression, then handed her the phone. Her stomach twisted as she read, "If you walk out the front door, you'll run into someone worse than me." Her pulse skidded. Another message appeared before she could blink. "Open the balcony curtain." "No," Hyun-joon snapped. "Don't do." But she was already walking. Something inside her said she had to know. If she kept hiding, she would lose her mind. She reached for the curtain, pulled it back, just a few inches, and saw him, Minchan. Not below, not in a car, not across the alley, but directly across from her balcony, standing on the rooftop of the opposite building, hands in his coat pockets, face partially lit by the orange streetlight, watching her, not hiding, not rushing, just standing there like he had all the time in the world. Her breath caught. He raised one hand and tapped two fingers against his temple, a gesture that said, "I see you. I always see you." Then he mouthed, deliberately, clearly, "Don't go downstairs." Janelle's legs buckled. Hyun-joon grabbed her before she hit the floor. "Janelle, what did you see?" She didn't answer. Couldn't. Because Minchan, the man she shouldn't have ever crossed paths with, lifted his phone and sent one final message. It appeared on her screen with a tiny vibration that felt like an earthquake. "If you want to survive tonight, listen to me." Janelle couldn't hear her heartbeat anymore. It was too fast, too sharp, too loud. She clung to Hyun-joon's shoulder as he steadied her, trying to pull her back from the feeling that the entire floor beneath her was tilting. Minchan's words kept echoing in her head. "If you want to survive tonight, listen to me." She swallowed hard, her throat tight. "Hyun-joon," she whispered. "He's on the roof. He's watching right now." Hyun-joon didn't look at the balcony. He didn't need to. His jaw locked, his chest rose in a slow, steady breath, and his hand tightened around her bag strap. "I know." "You knew?" she whispered, shocked. "I suspected." He ran a hand over his face. "I was hoping I was wrong." Her heart thudded painfully. How did he even get up there? "That building is residential. You need keys." "People give him keys," Hyun-joon said simply. "Or he takes them." A beat. Either way, doors don't stop him. Janelle pressed a shaking hand to her forehead. "This is insane. I haven't done anything." Her voice cracked. "I don't want any of this. I didn't choose." "You walked into the wrong room," Hyun-joon said softly. "And the wrong man noticed." She flinched. He sighed, tone gentler. "I'm not blaming you. I'm telling you the truth." Janelle opened her mouth but froze when her phone buzzed. Again, Hyun-joon reacted instantly. He snatched it off the floor before she could touch it. "What does it say?" she whispered. He read silently. Then his whole body tensed. He turned the screen to her. "Minchan, Hyun-joon shouldn't be making choices for you." Her blood ran cold. Another message came immediately. He knows who's waiting on the front steps. Janelle blinked rapidly. Front steps? Who? Hyun-joon grabbed her wrist and pulled her away from the door. Don't look. Don't even think about looking. Tell me who's there, she whispered. He shook his head. No. Hyun-joon, please. You don't want to know. The lights flickered. Something slammed downstairs, maybe a door, maybe a trash bin, maybe a fist, hard to tell. Her building wasn't safe anymore. Not the hallways, not the windows, not even the walls. Janelle pressed her back against the wall, chest heaving. Who's outside? She whispered, voice barely audible. Hyun-joon hesitated, just long enough to confirm her fear. Finally, the syndicate isn't patient, he said. That's who's outside. Her hand flew to her mouth. She tasted panic. Hyun-joon stepped closer, lowering his voice to a whisper. You have two choices tonight, Janelle. A beat? Neither one is good. Her breath trembled. Tell me. He pointed toward the apartment hallway. Option 1. We leave through the front. I fight whoever's waiting. You run. I buy you time. Janelle grabbed his sleeve. No. They'll hurt you. I can handle it, he said tightly. But you might not make it far. Her blood froze. And option 2? She whispered. He pointed toward the balcony. Option 2. We follow Minchan's warning. She felt her heart drop into her stomach. No. He said not to use the front door. No, she repeated, backing away, shaking her head. I can't trust him. He was interrogating someone tonight. He was watching my apartment. He knows everything. He's dangerous, Hyun-joon finished. Yes, I know. Janelle clutched the backpack strap. Why would I trust him? Hyun-joon stared at her with a look she didn't understand at first. Then she realized. It wasn't anger. It was hurt. Because he might already be deciding what happens to you, Hyun-joon said quietly. And if he's decided to keep you safe, he hesitated, jaw tight. He'll do it whether you want him to or not. Janelle shook her head violently. No, this isn't happening. I don't know him. I don't want him involved. I don't want any of this. Hyun-joon's throat bobbed. I know, he said softly. But Minchan isn't a person you choose. He's a person who chooses you. Her knees weakened. She grabbed the edge of the table just to stay upright. This is a nightmare, she whispered. Then, a metallic clink sounded outside the front door. Hyun-joon snapped into position immediately. What was that? Janelle breathed. He grabbed her arm hard. They're picking the lock again. Her pulse skidded out of rhythm. No, they just left. They came back, he said. They want you tonight. Janelle's vision blurred. Hyun-joon, we have to go. I know. He pushed her toward the balcony. She resisted. No. He's on the roof, we'll be going toward him. Better him than what's behind that door, Hyun-joon snapped. Her blood ran cold. Hyun-joon. Janelle, move. The lock clicked once, twice. They were seconds away from the door swinging open. Hyun-joon shoved her against the balcony door. Listen to me, he said fast, breathless, urgent. You need to choose right now. Her mind spiraled. Options. 1. Trust Hyun-joon's plan. Run through the front and risk being caught. Or 2. Trust Minchan's warning. Avoid the front. Avoid the back. Go toward the roof, toward him. Toward the monster who never blinks. Her chest heaved. The lock gave a final click. The doorknob turned. Hyun-joon grabbed her face in his hands. Janelle, he whispered, eyes burning into hers. Choose. Please. She squeezed her eyes shut. Her pulse screamed in her ears. Her lungs seized. Her fingers tightened. Then, she made her decision. She whispered a single word. The door burst open behind them, and Janelle ran. But the moment she stepped out onto the balcony, a hand caught the railing above her. A man dropped down from the rooftop with the quiet grace of a predator stepping into moonlight. Minchan. He landed in front of her, straightened, and looked her dead in the eyes. Good girl, he said softly. If your heart dropped when Janelle stepped onto that balcony, if you felt that sting of fear when she realized nobody is coming to save her, then don't watch this like a stranger. Hit subscribe so she never walks into the next episode alone. Every new part gets darker, every choice gets harder. And the only thing she has right now is us watching her story unfold. Drop a heart in the comments if you refuse to let her fight this world without someone on her side. Because villains have power. Janelle only has people who care enough to stay. And right now, she needs you to stay.